She is in studio.
We're here.
Lynn Christian, soulsalt.com. She's a life and business coach. And we were worried because you came in through the front, and we were like, we didn't see her come through the side where she normally comes in.
Trying to mitigate risk?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's good.
So that's what we're talking about this morning, the fear of failure. That's the biggest roadblock to taking that risk in your life or risks. So you wanted us to do kind of a little exercise
we're set up.
here.
So let's talk about it, and then we'll go to your risks, because everybody listening can realize that you have this fear inside of you that keeps you from doing weird things or things that are dangerous. So the distinction I'm looking for whenever I'm looking at risk is, if I take this risk, will it be an act of bravado or bravery? Because the bravado then kind of tells you, oh, maybe that's like walking too close to the edge of a cliff.
Okay.
But when we do something risky, we allow ourselves for possibilities of achieving great things, overcoming fear, leaping towards success. When we don't take that risk, when we're afraid of failure, then what happens is we expose ourselves to mistakes, setbacks, and defeats, but aren't those parts of life?
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes you who you are, right?
Yeah.
Especially,
Okay, so since this phenomenon happening inside of us is all about psychological safety, that teaches us avoid the risks that could hurt you, but we also avoid the risks that could help us. We're going to look at that psychological safety, and we're going to use the psychology behind it to face the fear with bravery and some analysis. So you guys tell us, what are your risks? Are you willing to share?
Okay, you want to start, Jess?
Not really.
No? Okay, so something that I'll start with, and I think this applies to what we're talking about, because for whatever reason, you know, because you've known us for a long time, and I have certain things in my life that I kind of drag my feet on.
Right.
So we moved into our new house a year ago this past June 4th. So
Okay.
It's been a little over a year in this new, and we moved 4 houses up. So it gave us a little bit more space. That was the sole reason we wanted.
Same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood. We love the neighborhood, love the neighbors. But we have now a little bit more room, almost too much room. But there is this, our basement is unfinished. It's all studded and insulated. Yeah, it's got the insulation and all that. It's ready to go. One of the rooms, since we bought this house, I want to turn into a studio.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I'm dragging my feet. I can't even. What is it? So does this fall into what we're talking
Well,
about?
do you feel like it's a risk if you turn that room into a studio? Is there some risk to it?
I'm afraid. Yeah. I guess what I'm afraid of is
bad luck.
No, I'm afraid of if I do it and don't do anything with it, then that is the failure to me.
Okay.
Like a waste.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's a waste.
Okay.
So if you'll waste the space if you turn it into a studio.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Jess?
Mine has to do with...
Come on, you guys were exposing dirty little secrets.
I
I
know,
know.
but we're so good at exposing others' dirty little secrets.
Mine has to do with just weight loss and getting healthy. I've just been on a yo-yo with my weight and the self-hatred with the body image thing. I mean, this is going back to when I was a tween.
The vicious cycle.
Oh, yeah, my whole life. I mean,
And
decades of it.
So many listeners can... Okay, so what is the risk? What if I try again?
And I think trying again seems tiring because I've done it so much.
Yeah.
And then if I do get thinner, which has happened in the past, not being able to maintain it.
Yeah.
So feeling like a failure again with my body stuff.
Okay, legitimate concerns. Thanks for being transparent. Your audience is going to love you even more for sharing. Okay, so let's look at the impact. Let's say you build the room into a studio.
Okay.
Jesse, and or Frankie, and Jesse, hold on to yours in just a second. I'm going to ask a similar question. And you don't use it. What's the impact? And measure the impact. Let's give it a number. Is it a high impact? If so, give it a 5. If it's a medium impact, give it a 3. And if it's a low impact, give it a 1. For you, let's say you try it again, you lose some weight, and then you gain it back.
Yeah.
What's the impact on you? Is it a high, medium, or low?
It's high.
Okay, so give
Yeah.
yourself a 5.
5.
Now, let's talk about probability. Let's say that we're looking at how likely is this to happen. So for you, Frankie, what's the probability that you're going to build it out, it's going to be a nice studio, and you won't do a thing with it? High, medium, or low?
That's the probability that I won't do anything with it. I would say it's pretty low.
Okay, is it a 1 or a 3?
that I won't, it's probably a 3.
Okay. What was your first number?
For the impact, 5.
Okay. So if we multiply those, we get a 15.
Okay.
And for you? What's the probability that you're going to lose the weight and then gain it back?
Probably like at least a 3.
Okay, it's a 3. And what was your first number?
5, so 8.
Well, she said multiply, right?
Oh,
So-
my bad. I was
Multiply.
adding.
Okay, so 15.
Yes.
So both of you, if we look at this on a numerical basis, on a number line, with these variables that I gave you, 1, 3, and 5, the highest number could be a 25 and the lowest number could be a 1.
Okay.
You guys are at a 15, so you're above average, but you're not into the 20s.
Okay.
So what does that tell you about your risk?
It's really not as big as we think.
Yeah.
Okay, it's worth looking at
doable.
because it's more than half,
Yeah.
but it's not up there in the red zone.
Okay.
So how does that assist you to look at it that way?
It's
Makes me feel better.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
promising.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we had gone through, if we had more time, I'd ask you to list more things that it could impact and more probabilities. And eventually you could add up the scores and look at it from a wider span
Wow.
of numbers. But right now, just slowing down, using the psychology of talking to the fear by adding some analysis to it through probability and impact, and then multiplying the number, you have a number that makes it more logical. And all of a sudden you look at the fear from a different part of your brain than the emotional brain.
Yeah.
So now you're up into the neocortex where we do analysis and you're getting smarter about it.
Yeah. You're tackling it with the logical part, like where you're right.
Exactly.
So it's not so.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's one way to deal with your fear of failure and to deal with risks is to analyze them. I used to do this in project management all the time.
Wow.
So we could understand the hottest risks, pay attention to. If they're not so hot, why worry about those? Go to the ones that are hot. For you guys, they're above average, but they're manageable.
Yeah.
True.
There you go.
Man,
Gosh,
that's so good.
That's really
so good. I
'Cause
love it.
I think back to even like going back to the fear thing and then literally facing it head on. I remember years ago, and since I was little, just using this as an example, afraid of spiders, petrified.
Yeah.
But as I've learned about them over the years, now don't get me wrong, I don't want them in the house,
Me either.
but now I'll cup them instead of, if I can't get them, you're dead. But I mean, if I can remove them and safely remove them out of the house, I will. But that came from learning about them to the point where years ago I had a tarantula that walked on my hand and
Wow.
learned kind of facing the fear that way. That's kind of along the lines of this.
It's exactly it. Face
call.
it. Look
Yeah.
at it. Okay, so you're afraid to fail. We all are. That's your psychology trying to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. However, that's not where you need to stop. You need to move through that and be more realistic about it.
It's so crazy how it's something teeny tiny and we make it a huge mountain.
Right.
And,
Well,
and you're just
yeah.
standing there looking up at it like, I'll never be able to do this.
Yeah.
But that's just not truth.
Well, and that also tells you both that the things that you mentioned are things that are important to you.
True.
They may not be life or death, but they're important. So there's some emotional attachment to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We so love you.
I
So
know,
here's,
you're
you
amazing.
text RISK, this word RISK, RISK, to 33777, and that will give you the chance to get the free guide of what we're talking about here. Facing those fears, right? So you can take that risk to better your life.
You got it.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
guys.
awesome. Thanks for coming in. I'm glad I peeked out in the hall.
I know.
Because we were thinking, maybe she forgot. We didn't.
Man.
Hey, it's Lynn Christian from Soul Salt. Thank you for listening to this conversation with Frankie and Jess from 97.1 KZHT. If you found this content helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to the Soul Salt YouTube channel for more videos like this. For more information regarding today's topic, visit our page linked in the description below.